And good afternoon. I am Dave Rothenberg. This is Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession, the YouTube Giants football comedy-laced YouTube show that gives you everything that you could possibly want 3 times a week for 1 hour, and then once a week post the Giant game for about 30 minutes. We have a really well thought out, well produced, exciting show to bring to you today. It's funny, because I'll be honest with you, I was not familiar with his work, and it was brought to our attention. You guys should have Brandon Perna on. And we thought, okay, well, who's Brandon Perna? Did a little research, and apparently he's a massive YouTuber who's out in Denver, big Broncos guy, a comedic-laced YouTuber, and chatted with him for a few minutes before we just came on the air, and he's a big deal. In fact, Steve and Nico, they're like excited about this. So we'll bring him on in about 5 minutes and get his take on Bo Nix and the game against the Jets and what the Giants offer and all that kind of stuff. So huge following on YouTube. It's called That's Good Sports, and that is Brandon Perna. So we're 5 minutes away from talking with him. Secondarily, fantasy waiver wire pickups. Today is Wednesday, and that gives us the opportunity to provide you insight and knowledge into the world of fantasy football. And by the way, I've started, I don't know if you're familiar with this. I want to tell you about this quickly. It's called the Guillotine League, and I was not familiar with it until recently. So a Guillotine League, and people have said to me over like the last 2-3 years, are you in one? Do you play Guillotine? I'm like, I don't even know what it is. So here's what it is. And it can vary based on a regular fantasy football league, 14, 16, 12 even teams in this league. You draft. But here's the beauty of it. So you're not competing against every one team. You're not going up against a weekly matchup. You go up against the entire league. And the team that finishes last place in that specific week gets chopped. And that's thus the guillotine. They're out. But here's the beauty of it. Their entire team becomes available via free agency. Now you bid on those guys with your free agent money and you add to your team. So it's strategic. It's fun. I'm really enjoying it. I'm in 2 and I'm still alive in both of them. So we'll get into fantasy. Waiver wire pickups for you guys as well. My Mount Rushmore, I'm not going to tell you what it is today. I like it very much. We'll get into it a little bit later in the show. It's my current Mount Rushmore that we have to bring to your attention. And of course, we'll get into the Broncos. Also, I wanted to get into story time today. I have a lot of stories. I'm a man with a lot of really useless, meaningless stories in my life. And I will tell you a story from back in, I'm going to bring you all the way back to 1991. That's what I'm going to do. All the way back to 1991. And it involves the Giants and the Broncos. No, you know what? I'm wrong. I'm going to bring you all the way back to 1987, the 86 season, 87, Giants, Broncos. And I'm going to let you in on a little story of what happened to me during that era. And it's not uplifting, and it's not positive, but it is, in fact, story time. So a couple of quick thoughts, and then we'll bring in Brandon Perna from That's Good Sports in just 2-3 minutes. Broncos, you look at the Broncos, you think about what they bring to the table. That's a really, really good football team. Now, I don't think they are the best team in the AFC, but I think they're a real problem. And you saw that their defense is elite. Like, if you're ranking the best defenses in the NFL, I don't know. Now, Philly, when they're healthy, is a very good defense. San Francisco, when healthy, is a very good defense. The problem with San Francisco is they're never, ever healthy. The Bills clearly is not that team. Chiefs is a good defense. Browns is an elite defense, or at least on the verge of being an elite defense, but they're so bad that it doesn't really matter. The Broncos, as far as like a defense that's on a team that has a chance to make some real noise, it might be the best defense in football. Philly, the Broncos, maybe Kansas City are the best defenses. They have elite pass rushing. They have an elite secondary. They probably have the best defensive player in all the league in Surtain. So that is really a top-notch defense. Nick Bonito is a phenomenal player. They're a problem. So we'll see how far Jackson Dart has grown in 3 starts and what he's able to do. And again, if you don't turn the football over against that defense and you just live to fight another day, away you go. On the flip side, offensively, they're good. They're better than they showed against the Jets last week. They are. I don't know what they were doing. They kind of went through the motions. The offensive line wasn't very good. Matt Pert got the start at guard. He's now out for the season. So they're now down to a 3rd-string guard, which maybe Dexter Lawrence can take advantage of. But they're better than they showed last week offensively. They have real weapons. Okay, Mims is good. Not great. Mims is good. We know Evan Engram can be a problem as well. Cortland Sutton is slowly developing into being one of the better receivers in the entire NFL. Bo Nix's a good, mobile, active quarterback. And J.K. Dobbins is he's an old pro. He's a really solid veteran running back in this league. And the rookie they drafted as well, Harvey's is an explosive running back. So that's a very, very talented. And they have Sean Payton. I mean, you look at all the boxes you need to check in the NFL. Coach, really good. Offense, good. I don't think great, but good and getting better with, real playmakers on that offense. At quarterback, good, getting better year 2. And their defense is, again, we've kind of covered a little bit, kind of borderline-ish elite. So, again, just want to kind of recap where we are right now. You can follow us on Twitter, comment, questions, all of it. We kind of do a little roundtable on Friday where the best, most important questions and comments will get answered here on our live stream. You can follow us on our social medias, Instagram, TikTok, DR Giants Obsession, on Twitter, DRNYGO, on Spotify, Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. On YouTube, like us, subscribe to us, and on top of that, make sure you get involved. And we are up well over 1,600 now, and we're looking to hit 2,000, and then we continue to raise the bar from there. So without any further ado, let's bring him in from That's Good Sports, my dear friend, and we chatted for 2-3 minutes before the show, so that's why I can say my dear friend, and that's Brandon Perna. Brandon, big Broncos guy, congratulations on what's a really nice early stages of the season for you guys. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Good. I'm good. Thanks for having me. My lifelong friend, Dave. We've known each other so long.
I think we're 10 minutes
glad
now.
to be here.
Yeah. I think we're about 10 minutes now. So
yeah,
let's get into it now. I think the defense is excellent with the Broncos. Excellent. And I'll be fair, Frank, very unimpressed with your guys' offensive performance against the Jets, because the Jets defense has not been good so far. Jets defense gave you real troubles, and I was surprised it was so difficult to move the football effectively against the Jets. Now, I don't know if part of that is like the travel hangover, or not taking the Jets all that seriously, or different start time, or what it was, but you concur, like you were a little unimpressed with that offense last weekend?
Yeah, I think we've been unimpressed with the Broncos offense for most of the season, if we're being honest. It felt like they kind of figured it out a little bit towards the end of last season, and I think most Broncos fans were hoping, they would just build upon that. The way I look at the Broncos offense is they play like one really good quarter, and then the other 3, it's kind of like a guessing game. And this season, they've had success when they run the ball well and stay committed to running the ball. J.K. Dobbins has been awesome for the Broncos this year. He's the right fit with Sean Payton's offense. He's patient. He allows his blocks to develop. And I think they just got away from that with the Jets, and the Jets did a good job kind of stopping the run. So, yeah, I think we were all disappointed in their performance against New York, but I'm just going to say the Jets defense just turned it on. They just figured it out. The rest of the season, the Jets defense is going to be one of the best defenses in the league, and we just happened to get them at the wrong time.
Well, you're one of the few that is impressed with the Jets, and their defense was good, but doing New York Sports Talk Radio, man, there is not a lot of positivity with the Jets at all right now. Trust. I mean, we're already having the conversations if Aaron Glenn should be fired or not, and we're 6 weeks into the season. So the end of that, I don't want to get too much off on a tangent, and I want to focus on the Giants and the Broncos, but the end of that first half of what the Jets were doing, not doing offensively, was one for like the record books. That was, I mean, the announcers didn't know what was happening. Sean Payton said after the game he didn't understand what the Jets were doing. That was some of the worst time management, game management, clock management, decision-making I've ever seen in my life at the end of a first half.
Yeah, I feel like Aaron Glenn glitched. Like he just froze up. He didn't know what to do, and they just watched the clock drain out. And they had a chance to, just take a shot there. Probably not going to work out, but you want to at least see them do something or get a quick, it was 4th down, right? So get a quick pass off towards the sideline. Hopefully you convert and you can try a field goal. So many things they could have done, and they chose nothing.
It was bizarre. So how do you deal with this now? That game for you last Sunday, because it's 9:30 for me in New York.
Yeah.
7:30 kickoff for you out in Denver?
Yeah, it was 7:30, and I did a live stream during the game on YouTube, which is actually, I prefer that because then I get the the chunk of my day where I can't pay attention to the rest of the NFL, like it's out of the way. And we have a 5-year-old and she's up at 6 or 6:30 every single day anyway. So I was, it worked out nicely for me.
All right, well, I'm glad. 7:30, 9:30 for me. I'm like, oh, this is a little early. 7:30 for me. Are you of the mindset? Because for me, and I love football, like it's an obsession. It's weird.
Sure.
Tell the name of the show, The Obsession, right? It's weird. I love it too much. Like I'll go to won't do family stuff. It's like funerals, weddings. I'm not doing it on football Sundays. But I'm of the mindset, like to start at, for us in New York, 9:30 in the morning and go straight through till 11:30 at night. Even someone that can't get enough football, I feel like I'm bordering on that's more than enough football for me.
Yeah, it's definitely too much. If this is like your job and you have to pay attention to all of football Sunday, but yeah, by that last game, and it was Chiefs and Lions.
Yeah,
that was a game I wanted to see, but yeah, you get burnt out pretty quick on these international games. And there's 4 or 5 now.
I think we get a break though. I think we have the one this week, which is the Rams and Jaguars. Then we get a couple of off, and then we pick it back up from like other countries. I think Germany is going to be involved, and Ireland is going to be.
Yeah, they want one every week, right? They want like 16 international games, which would be nuts. I think they got to figure out another time slot for them. I don't know when the best one is, but they need another time slot. Or
I wouldn't be opposed to a Saturday, to be honest with you.
Yeah, let's go after college football.
Yeah.
Let's just flex on college football too.
But the NFL is scared of nothing, and nor should they be. All right, so let's get back to the Broncos a little bit. You mentioned Dobbins. He's a great fit. He was a terrific player, and then he got hurt, and then he came over to the Broncos, and he's very good. Harvey, I like him. He's got some explosive nature to his game. I don't know that people recognize how good Courtland Sutton is yet. It's kind of, I know it's like a Denver. We know how good he is in Denver.
Yeah.
Some people around the NFL are figuring it out, but he's a special player. Like he's a big time wide receiver, Courtland Sutton.
Yeah, Sutton's just reliable. He's like the most trustworthy offensive player, and he's done it through so many different quarterbacks now. Like he was Russ's number 1 target. I think people started to notice Sutton when Russell Wilson was here because he had that like insane catch against the Bills in the end zone. He had a few of those that season. He had a really good rookie year, and then I think he tore his ACL. But yeah, we love Sutton. I think maybe the most underrated player on the Broncos right now is their edge rusher opposite Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper. He was a 7th round pick, I think, out of Oregon. He's been on the Broncos for a long time, but he is really important. Like, when you have as Giants fans, you're seeing this right now. You've got one really good edge rusher, but your pass rush, it is so much more dynamic when you've got a guy on the other side that is consistent in generating QB pressures and sacks. And I think Cooper was named Defensive Player of the Week this week. You guys are seeing that right now with Burns, with Abdul Carter, and even Kayvon Thibodeau's playing better with those two succeeding. So it's, there's a lot of underrated guys, I feel like. And you just have to get back into that primetime sort of spotlight. And like the Giants had that against Philly. Like I was watching Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo, and then they had a coming out party against Philly, and now everybody is just like, "Oh, who are these two dudes? Like, this is fun."
So let me ask you that. By the way, the coming out party. Do you know the last time the Giants won a Thursday night game, Brandon? You didn't have children, okay? It was 20. I'm not kidding. You talk about your daughter, and she sleeps till 6 o'clock. The last time the Giants won a Thursday night game was 2015. 2015. Dang. All right, so they finally got that done. You don't understand how big of a win that was. I mean, Philadelphia has owned us to be able to beat them and nationally televised the whole thing. It was Saquon was out-dueled by Scadaboo. Was awesome. You watched that game. You said you watched it. The Denver community, you yourself, what do you look at and say, this concerns me a little bit about what this Giants team brings to the table this weekend?
Yeah, I think like with a young quarterback and Dart, and we've seen him the first week, I thought he was really good at extending plays and making plays, with his legs. The passing was a little erratic, but against Philly, it feels like he kind of dialed it all in. Like there was a handful of throws that were really impressive. He's had 50 plus rushing yards like 3 weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like his ability to extend plays and that second opportunity he gives an offense. So that's concerning. And then like with a rookie, they're just unpredictable. And if he's going to make a lot of plays with his legs, that's always kind of difficult, no matter, how good your defense is. And I think like the funniest thing I heard about Scadaboo was, I think it was CTE has Scadaboo. Like he's that kind of like punishing and crazy runner.
I say it all the time. Like it's, and I feel awful saying it, but it's true. Like I worry for him. Like when he's 35 years old, I worry for what he's going to be health-wise, because people are not supposed to act like this. People are not supposed to be running into walls head first and seeking contact for physicality. Like,
yeah,
it's just not normal.
No, so like, I think a little bit of the unpredictability there, that's always difficult, but I would feel, I think, more nervous if you guys didn't lose Malik Neighbors. Like, I think it's such a shame that we're not going to get to watch the rest of your season with Dart and him not having Neighbors to throw to. Like, that would just be, as a football fan, like a like Giants specific fan, like that's just, I want to watch that. I want to see what he does with a playmaker like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I think the Broncos are very good at getting to the quarterback. We know that they're 30 sacks. Have like a 13 something sack rate, which is insane.
They certainly got the Justin Fields. I mean, 9 sacks is almost unheard of this day and age.
I feel like we'll get Dart, 4 or 5 times, and that's a lot, but I don't think it's going to affect him the way it affects Justin Fields. Fields was holding on to the ball forever too. I would say like 4 of those sacks aren't going to happen in a normal game. But the Broncos kind of had issues at the linebacker spot. We haven't had Dre Greenlaw. He's been on IR. He's eligible to return now. I don't know when he's going to get on the field, but like, I don't think their defense is peaked yet. And we're waiting for Greenlaw. I think he's going to make a big difference for their defense. It's their defensive front also underrated. Like the reason we're able to get so many sacks on the edges is John Franklin Meyer, Zach Allen, and they got Malcolm Roach back last week. So their defensive interior is pretty dominant. Kind of like yours with Dexter Lawrence there. And you mentioned Pert, and Pert got roasted last week. Oh, and then we found out he played 57 snaps injured and he's on IR. And we're like, oh, man, I feel bad for being hard on him. And we're actually they're down to their 4th string guard because they lost Nick Gargulio in the preseason. And they drafted him last year, but he was going to be the reserve guy to play at, either guard spot. So that is a big hole right now.
Yeah, the only reason I roasted Pert is because I have PTSD with him. He was a Dave Gettleman special project guy. Oh, okay. Gettleman is a name we try to avoid as best we can in New York, and he was brutal. Like they tried to play him at tackle, he couldn't play there. They tried to play him at guard, he couldn't play there, and it's just like finally like, all right, we got to move on from this guy. I didn't even know he still played in the NFL, and then I'm watching the Jets and the Broncos on Sunday morning, like Matt Pert at guard, like oh no,
yeah,
and he has a false start. And then he has a holding penalty, and then he has another holding penalty. I'm like, oh, and there he is. Like, this is the Matt Pert that we've all come to, I'm kind of a morbid guy. Like when a guy doesn't produce for my team, I want to watch them fail all around the NFL as best I can. So I did enjoy that greatly, but yeah. So, but I mean, that's a real hole though. Cause now you're down to your 4th string guard.
Yeah.
And the Giants, you mentioned it, the strength of their defense is the front 4. And maybe even the best piece of that is Dexter Lawrence. So if it's hard for Dexter Lawrence to be blocked in this game from the Giants' perspective, from each perspective, like that could be a real problem for the Broncos.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to kind of shake out the way that Jets game did, where it's going to be kind of an ugly game, a lower scoring game. I don't know how much success either offense will have consistently, and it's kind of going to be probably a couple big plays from each side on offense that gives them chances to score. And like you saw with the Broncos in that Jets game, they kind of shot themselves in the foot a few times, and there was penalties. They were at 3rd and 1, and then they had the false start and then a holding, and I swear they were in 3rd and 16 or 3rd and 17 like 3 or 4 times in that game. And that, unless you're like the Chiefs or the Bills, when you get in 3rd and 16, you're done. You're not converting.
No, you're not getting up from that. Well, what do you think the upside for the Broncos is? Like, because we're just talking about it, and I talk about it on my radio show all the time. Like the Bills, I was all in on the Bills, and they've been highly unimpressive for a couple of weeks now, and their defense looks like it has real issues. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, man. I mean, at the end of the day, don't ever count them out because he's so good. He's playing at a high level. Yeah. Worthy was out. He's back. Rashee Rice has been out. He's going to be back this week. And I think they'll be fine for their footing. But realistically, the expectation for the Broncos in your mind, in the mind of the Broncos fans is like, how far could they potentially go?
Expectations, I think this entire year were just get back to the playoffs and be competitive in that first game. They overachieved last year getting into the postseason, and then the Bills worked them. And in that game, one great quarter from the Broncos offense. They took an early lead and then they disappeared. So like that's waiting for that to sort of click and be consistent. But I think right now, the Chargers and the Broncos are 4-2. They're top the division. The Chiefs dropped those 3 games. I think it's just keep that lead. And hopefully come December, you're in control of whether they're able to win, the division at that point. So I think it's get back into the playoffs, and the AFC is wild right now. There's a lot of things that are happening that I don't think anybody predicted, like the Ravens being as bad as they are.
The Colts.
The Bengals are done. The Bills don't look as good as they have. They've got problems on defense. So AFC is up for grabs. And I think the AFC West could have 3 playoff teams. The Chargers are going to get a little healthy, and the Chiefs I don't think they have anybody on IR that's significant on their roster. So they are one of the healthiest teams right now, in addition to being the Chiefs, which sucks. I hate.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, and I understand why you would. And it's almost like, I mean, even the Eagles on steroids for me, right? Like I hate the Eagles.
Yeah,
in our way, but they're not in the Super Bowl every year. They go often enough, and they're good, and they're the best team in this division. But the Chiefs are, I mean, it must be highly
pain. They're a real nightmare.
Is that the team though that you look at? You're like, if we have to get through the Chiefs to wind up where we want to get to, like you don't look at the Chargers, that team, the Bills is that team, the Colts is that team. It's the Chiefs is that team to get by, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. And, we don't play the Chiefs until, I think, late November. I wish we would have played them when they were struggling a little bit. But, yeah, get through the Chiefs. We'll see who the Colts are, too. Like, their schedule gets a lot more difficult in the second half of this season. I just want the offense to score points consistently. And I think, like, Sean Payton, he brings out so many different looks and packages and personnel. I would like to see just a little more simplified offense. Let's do heavy personnel and then just run the ball, and let's keep them out there and keep running it, and let the run game open things up for Bo Nix in the passing game, because he's a sophomore quarterback.
Right.
He's still learning. He's still growing and developing. And every time Bo Nix starts to play well, we've got receivers who will drop a pass or miss an opportunity. And then when those opportunities are there, we've seen Nix kind of overthrow some of these deep layups, if you will. And so they're kind of fortunate to have a 4-2 record, but also the Colts and Chargers games this year, we lost the Colts game because of a leverage penalty on their 60-yard field goal attempt.
Stupid penalty, too.
They get a do-over. Yeah,
penalty,
crazy. And then the Chargers beat them, on a game-ending kick as well. So they've been in every game, and they still haven't played their like a complete football game, in my opinion. So
yeah, no, I tend to agree with that. You look at the Giants, and I say this loosely, weapons, right? I don't know who scares you more. Is it Wan'Dale Robinson scares you? Is it Lil Jordan Humphrey, former Bronco, I believe?
Yeah, Lil Hump.
Right, that terrifies you. Is it Daniel Bellinger or Theo Johnson? That being said, you have probably the most elite cover corner in the NFL, and Patrick Surtain, right? He's unbelievable. If I'm Brian Dable and the Giants and Mike Kafka, I almost look at this and say, all right, wherever he's going to be, fine. We're not going to go there. We're going to go to the other side of the field because we don't have anybody that's good enough that I would even think about going in the direction of Surtain. Is that
Yeah.
something teams do? They just say like, we'll give up this guy, or do they attack him ever?
No, I mean they've gone after Surtain, I would say, more this year. He got injured in the Colts game. He rolled his ankle. And I think that was his worst game because he came back in, he played through it. And it wasn't like significant, but he wasn't 100% in that game. But opposing quarterbacks have targeted Riley Moss heavily. I think he's one of the most targeted corners in the league. And he's got this weird stat where he gives up he's like top 3 in the amount of separation he allows. So he's on guys. He covers well, but he's given up, I don't know, a lot of receiving yards. And he's kind of like a divisive player right now. Like, I think there's a lot of Broncos fans who don't think he's that good. And there's a lot of Broncos fans who think he's underrated because he does get targeted a lot and he's going up against number 2 receivers. And he's done, for the most part, like a pretty good job. I think we just have really high expectations because Surtain's opposite. But I think, like, I don't worry about opposing teams like truly beating Denver with their passing game because the secondary is good and also the pass rush is so good. What worries me is like Dart and Scadaboo combining for like over 100 rushing yards each, right? I think that's the way you attack it, is those guys running the football and Dart running after the play's kind of broken down, but Cam Scadaboo kind of just wearing out a defense over time. And like, he wants to do that.
Oh yeah, no, he welcomes the contact. Have you seen the play? I think he started at Sacramento State before he wound up at Arizona State, and they gave him the football, and he has his path to the end zone. He's going to score a touchdown. There's nobody really near him. The 5-yard line, there's like a corner that's approaching him. He slows down and like leaps into the guy's. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I have.
Face just to like, it's like he enjoys contact. I've never seen anything like it before. He runs like he's Earl Campbell, but he's the size of almost Barry Sanders. It's really unbelievable. Like they broke them all when they made this.
And with the speed of neither of those men.
Right. The speed of Brandon Perna, I believe.
Yeah, exactly.
That he's working with. Is this a close game? We get to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think it will be.
Game?
Yeah. I think this game is going to be like, it's 19-17. And I'm going to say the Broncos are going to win it. I have to believe that. It's going to be close, though.
Yeah? All right. We'll take it. We'll take it. So let me ask you this before I let you go. It's not even related to the game. You have created a massive YouTube channel, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. We're starting, and we're doing well. We're 6 weeks in, and we're well over 1,000 subscribers. We're on our way. What can we do? Teach us, impart your ways with us, Brandon, here on Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. Give us a little bit of knowledge.
Yeah, it's consistency is like the actual answer. It's just showing up every week, making sure that the people who start to follow you can rely on you being there. Mm-hmm. You actually have my secret weapon. It's Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, right. In the disaster that trade was, and my pain and suffering because the Broncos let me down so significantly. That was my biggest growth. I'd been doing YouTube for like 9 years, and then we got Russell Wilson, and I had more growth in those 2 years with Russ starting than ever. Unfortunately, you guys already moved past him, and I think the draw of Russ is
want him back.
Is gone. What's that?
You want him back?
I'm good. I'm good. Okay. I have no hard feelings. It didn't work out, but I think Russ needs to admit where he's at.
Yeah, it's over. Is where he's at. It's over.
I mean, him coming in that throw last week.
Oh my God!
And like, you just saw Brian Dable start to lose his mind.
Dable went into the tent.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
He was like, "What?" He like ripped the curtain. I was like, "Where are we here? Can we get this guy back?" He said if he was prepared to start using timeouts. Like, he did not. Yeah. I don't know that I've ever seen, because you don't watch every Giants game. And against the Cowboys, he was really good. Like Russell Wilson. Now everybody, you could play well against the Cowboys defense. They're really bad, but he was really, really good. And watching him come into the game last week, it looked like he wasn't a professional quarterback. Like, I don't know that I've ever seen such a precipitous drop off in a quarterback that quickly.
Yeah, he is an anomaly. It's like there's a few plays every game. You're like, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And then 3 plays later, he'll take a sack and fumble in the most crucial time. You're like, a guy who's been in the league as long as him should not be doing this.
No,
he should not.
It's not good. It's over. It's sad because he's had a long storied successful career, but it's over. Speaking of being over, this conversation, sadly for me, and maybe you, maybe not, is over. So
it was a pleasure coming on.
Yeah, you're awesome. I appreciate your fun, continued success to you. And you know what? I'd say go Broncos. That would not be true. I don't mean that.
Sure.
But I think you guys are gonna have a win this week against the Giants. So good luck.
We'll take it
the rest of the season, man.
Yeah, I'll be rooting for the Giants. They're fun right now. So just not this week.
Thanks, Brandon.
All right, see ya.
All right, there you go. That's Brandon Perna, who he's a big deal. I mean, just to be in the presence of someone like Brandon Perna for a few moments we're really fortunate to have had him. No, seriously, he's really good. And we do appreciate a few minutes, and over 800,000 subscribers is just really wild. So want to get into this. Oh, we have a question, and this is a super chat. See, look at me. I understand. A super chat question. All right. Karma 11. Should the Jets trade for Mac Jones at the end of the season and hope that he has a bounce back career like Mayfield, Darnold, Geno, or Daniel Jones? All of them were with a quarterback guru. I mean, I would not. Here's the thing: the Jets are going to have a top pick, right? Top 5 pick. You would imagine at the worst. Maybe in addition to drafting a quarterback, you could bring in someone like Mac Jones, but you can't bank on Mac Jones being your quarterback. You can't move into a new year with a new quarterback and make it a guy that's been on his 3rd team in 3 years. I don't think that would be smart, especially when it looks like you're going to have, for the most part, your pick of the litter. So I like Mac Jones. You know, people forget he did lead the Patriots into the postseason where they got hammered by Buffalo, but Belichick was able to manipulate it so that Mac Jones was a playoff quarterback. Then he leaves there. It fell apart there. He leaves there. He bounces around, and now he's with the Niners, and he looks good. He does. But I don't think you can put all your eggs in the Mac Jones basket. No, I think that would be a massive, massive mistake. By the way, and we fought with this. Is there someone pulling a prank on us? Does this make sense? And we finally got to the point where we decided we're going to take a flyer, and every week when you become a subscriber to YouTube, right? We kind of say who your name is and who you are. So I believe this is okay to say, but I'm not 100% sure. Mickey Harder. So welcome aboard, Mickey Harder, and he goes in conjunction with Tyler Sweeney and Chris T. I have my whole list here. Cullum Dempsey and David Vigliotta and Mike Abbott and Tucker Dorf and Bobby Bugs, who is somehow, and I don't even know what this means, on the fantastic tier, and Liradona Dema as well. So you join and you will get a quick mention here on DRGO. All right, so the Broncos, Bo Nix, see, that's a really good football team. And you look at what they are. The quarterback, and he's not great. He's not upper echelon, but you could almost look at most of their team and say, it's really good, right? I think their defense might be great, might have great pieces. Offensively, they're good. Head coach might be great. I mean, Sean Payton is a terrific offensive mind in this league and has quickly transformed this team. See, it's hard to think about. They bring in Russell Wilson, and like Brandon just said, it's a disaster. It blows up in their face. It doesn't work. They're like, all right, pivot, move in a different direction. They do it like that, and they're a playoff team in year 1. That's impressive. I mean, to make a mistake, and this is what teams do all the time, and you saw the Giants kind of do it. You double down on mistakes, right? Giants did it with Daniel Jones. I don't know that they had a choice, but they doubled down on Daniel Jones. So they bring in Russell Wilson. They could have, we'll double down. We believe we're offensive line improvement or a big-time wide receiver away from, being a team that's going to compete. No. Admit your mistake. Cut your losses. And they decided to move on from Russell Wilson, bring in Bo Nix, and you see the immediate dividends that paid for the organization. So good job. You can afford to do that when you're Sean Payton, when you have skins on the wall like he does, and you've won a Super Bowl, and you've been a big-time coach for such a long time, you can kind of afford to do that. But Bo Nix is a good quarterback. Not great, not the upper echelon, but a good quarterback, a capable quarterback, and they have weapons. And the Giants' secondary is not good. So you look at Cortland Sutton, you look at Marvin Mims, you look at Evan Ingram, you start to think to yourself, all right, well, if we take away Sutton, I mean, I promise you, and this will be like prediction-wise when we get to this later in the week, Evan Ingram's going to have a big game because why would he not, right? Evan Ingram dropped so many passes when he was with the Giants that it was mind-boggling. I promise you, Evan Ingram will have a big game. And on the flip side, with no real weapons, and granted, an offensive line which is coming along, and Andrew Thomas, by the way, is playing at a all-pro level right now. If you watch the tape, a different kind of level. But little Jordan Humphrey and like we mentioned, like Wan'Dale Robinson, who's playing well, Cam Scadaboo, the Giants are not littered with weapons. Now, Brandon said 1917. You tell me right now this is a 1917 game, I'd take it right now at this second. You know what? Flip of the coin who wins, fine. I would take it in a heartbeat if the Giants could somehow figure out a way to keep this to a 1917 game. That Broncos defense is really good. And, it's Brandon Allen. It's Nick Benito. It's, the Jets let Jonathan Franklin Myers get away. Their secondary is good. They're aggressive. It's a hard place to play. You have the altitude. You're walking into a really tough spot. Now, hopefully, right, the travel to Europe, it becomes an issue for them, but I would say probably not. And Denver's the better football team. That being said, do the Giants have to win for you to be impressed? I don't think so. Right? I don't think so. I think the Giants need to do things well and to get to the end of the game and feel good about what you've seen overall from the Giants. Does it have to result in a win? I would say probably not. But yeah, the Broncos are a really good opponent for the Giants this week. And that the problem is, I think the Giants are improving. Like they're becoming a better football team. The problem is the opposition and the schedule, right? The one game you looked at and said, all right, we'll win that was the Saints. You didn't win that game, but you beat the Chargers. You beat the Eagles. And now for your troubles, it's Broncos in Denver. It's Eagles in Philly. It's Niners back at home. It's Bears in Chicago. It's Packers. And then it's at the Lions. So it really is. It's highly, highly daunting. Nico and Steve, let me bring you guys in for a moment here on DRGO. What do you think of Brandon?
I think he was great.
Fantastic.
No. See, here's the thing that you're missing. And I got to bring this to your attention. He was great, or I buoyed him to be great.
The questions were great.
Mm-hmm.
As always, the questions are always great. And
I don't want a Monday morning quarterback from you. I wanted you to come on and be like, boy, you made him sound great.
You made him sound great.
You don't believe that. All right. So we got questions, comments today. Where are we?
We have one coming in from Bobby Bugs, great fanatic level member on our YouTube show. This week concerns me more than any other so far as Dart taking hits. If the Denver pass rush pushes around our old line, Dart will try to squeeze out of sacks and could take some big hits.
I understand why it would worry you because I think it worries everybody, but I don't know why this week would be different than any other week. He takes big hits every week. I mean, the Chargers, he took big hits. The Saints, he took big hits. He had to leave the Eagles game because he had a big hit and had to be looked at for a concussion. So it's a problem. And we talked to Bob Papa about it on Monday, and Bob's right. This has been a problem for him since college. Lane Kiffin, Charlie Weiss Jr., they told him, you cannot continue to play like this. And that's how he plays. That's how he plays football. So I don't like it. You don't like it. Giants fans don't like it. My big concern, and I hate to even put this into the ether, but I'm going to, God forbid, like you want to see what he's going to be able to be this year. More than wins and losses this year for the Giants. You want to get to the end of the season and say, all right, I have zero concern about the quarterback. This kid's really good. He's going to be really good in the future. And we have answered that question. God forbid he gets hurt against Philadelphia and it's a long-term injury and you don't have a defined answer if he's the quarterback of the future. I believe he is already kind of, but I want to see him play in 11 more games or 10 more games. And if that gets ripped away because he's trying to pick up an extra yard on a 2nd and 7, that would be highly frustrating. So you're right. But I don't know why this Denver game would worry you any more than any other game. I think every single time he takes the field, you have the real concern of, oh, God, is this going to be the game that he takes the shot that injures him? I mean, he got hurt against the Chargers, and on a play that didn't even count. Now, he doesn't know that, but he's downfield, and he's punching the face mask of the defensive back with his throwing hand. Like, how is that okay? And we talked about it with Mina last week. How in the world, like, he goes out into the tent and you're looking at if he has a concussion and the decision after bringing him out and clearing him is let's now run him. Like, what kind of decisions are these? So they have to be
It's
careful.
immediate. It's the immediate play call to just put him into contact.
Well, the problem is, and this is where you have the disconnect. The problem is that the head coach may be on a different timeline than the quarterback, right? Because the head coach might sit there and think to himself, I got to win now. And if I don't win now, I think it's fair to say I'll never be a head coach in this league again, right? It's not crazy to think.
Yeah.
And Dable is fighting for his life in coaching in the NFL, and Jackson Dart is not. Jackson Dart is at the infancy stages of his career, so it is very different. But yeah, it is a concern. But I don't think this week more than any other week. I think every week it's a concern. What else you got?
We have a look into the future from our good friend the Moloko Veloset.
No, the Moloko Veloset. Yeah.
Dave, I'm excited for this team, but I want to look ahead. Do the Giants select the best O-line in next year's draft?
That's not fair, and I'm not going to even do that. I mean, I have Mel Kiper on my radio show every week, and he is just starting to come out with his big board. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Giants will take the best right tackle. No, that's silly. But what I will tell you that they need to improve this offseason. And again, Dart makes everything better. Like, you have the quarterback who's capable, and all of a sudden you see it. The offensive line is better, and the receivers are better, and the running game is better, and he buys more time to allow guys to get open. So it all changes. But what I will say is the offensive line needs to continue to be improved, and they need to add a legitimate second receiver. So what they take with the 10th pick or 12th pick or 7th pick, I don't know. I'm not going to play that game with you right now, but they need to add a legitimate second receiver. Wandale as a 3 would be a dream. Wandale as a 2 is not. Wandale at a 1 is certainly not. They need to fix the offensive line. They need to add depth on defense, and they need to still improve the secondary.
What do you think is more important, O-line or second receiver spot?
I think they're both important. I think they're equally important. I think you cannot go with a guard center guard combination, which you're like, oh, that's one of the worst in the NFL. Your right tackle is serviceable. You have one great piece on that offensive line and 4 pieces that are meh-ish, right? I think Schmitz is getting better. I think Illuminor is capable. I think the guards are pedestrian at best. But I think you need a second receiver.
The fact that last week JMS wasn't even noticeable that he was out is a problem, especially for a very high pick.
Well, I think Schlottman played well, and I think that helped a lot. And I think that John Michael Schmitz has underwhelmed so far in his first couple of years in the NFL. I think it's very fair to say. You got more? Where are we at?
We have one more coming in. This is more of a statement, and I like it when you and Brandon were talking about Scadaboo. He already twitches all the time. Love Scadaboo, but worry about his health long term.
I think you have to. I mean, I know we joke about it. I'm not even playing. Like, he's 23 years old, and he's an undersized guy. Not that it even matters. Like, have you seen? And you guys probably don't know who he is. Earl Campbell. Do you guys know who Earl Campbell is?
Yeah.
Who?
He's a football player.
Come on. Give me one piece of information about Earl Campbell.
I don't know.
So, Steve, you're punting. You don't know who Earl Campbell is.
I said, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, great. That's good.
Earl Campbell, he's a.
All on my screen.
I mean, what decade?
Don't look it up.
I'm not looking it up.
Don't-
What
Steve,
decade?
Keep your hands above.
80s,
I want to see your hands.
80s football player.
All right.
And he played for who did he play for? The Seahawks?
Look at him looking at my screen.
Yeah, you're unbelievable. So you have no idea who Earl Campbell is.
I
which
do
is a
know Earl
testament
Campbell.
to-
I just don't know specific
I
things.
need you
I've
guys
heard
to
the
start
name.
studying football a little bit more. All right. Earl Campbell, number 34, I believe, went to the University of Texas in the late 70s, was probably, and I'm guessing, 6'3", 245. He was
5'11".
5'11"?
Mm-hmm.
Was he 235, 245?
232.
All right, so I'm right there. 5'11", which is wild to me, but ran like it was the last time he was ever going to touch the football. And there's actually a play, and you guys should watch it. And I've given you assignments, and I question whether you've done them at all so far. There's a play when he's playing for the Houston Oilers where you could even watch it now. He's running down. They start to rip off his shirt. By the time the play's over, he's not wearing a jersey any longer. He ran like every time he touched the football was the last time he would ever touch the football. He might have been the hardest running back to tackle that I've ever seen. Scadaboo, who's nowhere near the size of Earl Campbell. I didn't realize he was 5'11". That's shocking to me. But nowhere near that size, runs the same way. My point is this. If you look up what Earl Campbell looks like now, it's sad to see. He can't walk, right? I mean, it's really, really sad to see. And I do. Do I want him to succeed? Of course I do. But my concern is that in 10 years, Scadaboo, because you're just not supposed to go through a football game or life like that. It's very interesting. So is that it? Are we done here?
Yeah.
All right, do your Earl Campbell research, would
Gotcha.
you?
I'm going to go
watch
right
that
now.
video.
Yeah.
Here's what I want. I want you right now to watch that video. And when I bring you back on in 10 minutes, I want you to be like, wow, I watched the video. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. A couple more things that I do want to get to. What do we need to see from Jackson Dart? More of the same. You want to limit your turnovers. And this is a defense that will turn you over. And you just want to be smarter. Again, you're going up against the best cover corner in the NFL. He's the defensive player of the year. So either go after him infrequently or even punt on it. You're going to take, I don't know, Darius Slayton out of the game. But we're not going to even look to Darius Slayton. We won't even look to the right side. We're only going to look down the middle and to the left because that's the level of corner he is. And if he played again, if he matched up against Malik Neighbors, you say, well, you can't punt on incorporating Malik Neighbors into the offense. Fine. But they don't have anything like that. So I would almost say avoid him. But it's a good defense. And when you're not that good, and the Giants aren't, right? They're not that good of a football team. You need to make the little plays. You need to have the Cordell Flott interceptions. You need to hit on the quarterback buys time and hits Wan'Dale Robinson and a tackle is missed and he takes it to the house. That's what you need to do. You have to, like those 50-50 plays. If you succeed on those, you have a chance. And if you don't, odds are you're going to struggle. All right, guys. I want to bring up my Mount Rushmore right now. And this is an interesting one. My Mount Rushmore of sleeper teams. So let me explain when I came up with this list what I mean. It's not the Chiefs. It's not the Bills. It's not the Bucks. It's not the Lions. It's not the Eagles. It's that under the radar team. You look at it like, oh, yeah, I never really thought about that team as a team that could make some noise. But Dave's right or Dave's wrong. And I kind of like them as a potential sleeper team. All right, here we go. Now you can bring up the graphic and away we go. Seattle. This Seattle team is good. And what would worry me about the rest of the NFL is they travel. They've won 9 consecutive road games. They have a real quarterback. Sam Darnold's good. Njigba has proven to be, he's a number 1 receiver. They have 2 good running backs. Charbonnet, I guess it is, and Kenneth Walker, right? Offensively, they're good. I think they're well coached. Their defense is continuing to get better. They have a massive home field advantage, and they're 4-2, and they probably should have won that game against Tampa. It could be 5-1. They're a very, very dangerous football team. All right, flip over to the second spot. And again, this is in no order, our Mount Rushmore. That's the Patriots. The question is, when you get to week 17, will you say about the Patriots, boy, that win against the Bills on Sunday Night Football really changed the narrative with that team? Because Drake May played really well. They beat the Bills in Buffalo. Highly impressive. May's playing better. All of a sudden, Diggs is kind of having that connection with him. Demario Douglas is good. Hunter Henry. Christian Gonzalez is getting healthy. They're well coached. We know that. And now they're 4-2. Very impressive. So that's a sleeper Mount Rushmore team for me as well. All right. Next up, the Texans. You say, well, the Texans are in the playoffs every year. But nobody looks at the landscape of the AFC and says, I'm scared about the Texans. But here's me telling you why. In fact, I think you should be. Because their defense, we talked about the better defenses and didn't include them in that conversation before. That's a misstep by me. They should be. That defense is excellent. Will Anderson is an elite defensive player. Now, offensively, they've taken a step back because I think C.J. Stroud has taken that step back. But if they can find their way and if they can get a consistent running game, their defense is just good enough that they could make some noise and be one of those sleeper-esque teams in the NFL now. And last but not least, and you thought I was going Giants, and I'm not, you saw this team on Monday night this week, and up and down the field they went in that first half. They have Bijan is, I don't even think it's a debate. Is he just the best running back in football right now? Bijan Robinson? I think so. Kyle Pitts is all of a sudden crossed over to that. He's pretty good. Drake London is an elite wide receiver. They get to the quarterback now on defense. Penix is finding his way. I wouldn't sleep on any of these teams, and I think Atlanta is a good football team that's on the verge of becoming a better football team. All right, so let's get rid of our Mount Rushmore of sleepers so far as we move into week 7 around the NFL. And this is the time that I provide you with information and knowledge, and I will do it to the best of my ability. And I think it's worked pretty well for much of the season. We'll do it again now, and that's our fantasy waiver pickups heading into week 7. So We start with the Niners. They're going to throw the football, okay? Their receivers are all banged up. Now, it sounds like Ricky Pearsall may play this week and George Kittle may play this week, but Juwan Jennings is banged up. And I think we've seen Kendrick Bourne is a reliable, legitimate wide receiver. And we were asked a question earlier about Mac Jones. Is he great? No. Is he competent? Yes. Kendrick Bourne, if he's available still, I pick him up. Cameron Johnson. Monitor the Bucs situation because Evans, we don't know. He's missed time with the hamstring. Uncertain whether he's going to play this week. So put him off to the side. Ibuka's not going to play. All right. So now you might be down your top 2 receivers, and Godwin is nowhere near healthy. He played week 5, I think it was, and then re-aggravated the offseason injury. Couldn't play week 6. And who stepped up in week 6? Cameron Johnson in a big way. I thought it might be Tez Johnson as the guy, and he had a long touchdown pass. Cameron Johnson had a better game, is a more consistent receiver. If to monitor it again, Mike Evans doesn't play. Cameron Johnson, nice to get into your lineup. Running back, Bam Knight, he's going to be a massive pickup this week. He might be the guy. It might be him and Michael Carter as far as the running back situation is concerned with Arizona. I like him. I think he's a good running back. I think Gannon wants to run the football, so I would keep a very close eye on that as well. And listen, you have no reason not to pick him up. Kamani Vidal is another running back. He's the guy in the Chargers. And the thing with the Chargers is they're built to win now, and it's a pro-style offense, and the running back's going to get a lot of touches. And the running back who was supposed to get all those touches, Amarian Hampton, is on IR right now. It's not going to come back for at least a few weeks. You saw Vidal last week play at a really good clip. He's an excellent player. You thought it might be, I forget his name, the Haskins, I think is his name, last week. It wasn't. Vidal got the nod. I would certainly try to go in that direction if he's available in your league. And Ty Algier. He's the backup to Bijan, but we're one hit away from, and again, even with the no injury to Bijan Robinson, he took the ball against the Bills, took it to the house. So he's going to get 10, 12 carries a game. You have a real chance that he could rip one off. And God forbid, I'm not wishing this, but if anything were to happen to Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier becomes a must start, an absolute must start player. So Nico, Steve, I want to bring you back on now. And I'll ask you the question. Did you watch any Earl Campbell videos?
I just did, yeah.
And
I thought he's crazy.
See?
He's
slammed
insane.
his head. I saw a video on Facebook. Someone posted it was like his birthday post. He slammed his head right into the defender.
I told you.
Everyone. And he
through
had the football
everyone.
out.
Yeah,
Did you see the one where
noticed.
he was running with no jersey by the end of the play?
They ripped his jersey off.
Yeah.
I saw, as soon as I saw that he had his face mask, he had the one bar going down the middle. It was over. I knew it. He was an absolute dog.
So now you know. And this is what that's like.
The teaching.
You wouldn't even remember that. It's a teachable moment. That's what I'm trying to do here. Like, I want to provide levity. I want to provide comedy. I want to impart knowledge and wisdom. And I also want to make it teachable for the younger generation. Like, I'm not going to be here forever, guys. I'm 52, 35, 40, 45 years. I'm not going to be on this earth anymore. But who will be? You guys will be. And who's going to tell the next generation stories of Earl Campbell at that point? It can't be me. It won't be me.
Now it'll be us.
So you might say it's funny to your children or even your grandchildren in 35, 40 years. You'll be like, you know what? What do you envision naming your kids, Nico? Is it Tatiana in there? Maybe. No.
I'm Greek.
And Emily,
some Greek name.
A Gyros? You think a Gyros might be a name for no? Like a Souvlaki. Souvlaki Calamatis.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a great name.
So, I mean, think about that. At some point, you might want to teach her or him about Earl Campbell. I won't be there to do that, but you will now have that.
When I sit little Souvlaki down, I will tell her, listen, a mentor of mine, Dave, told me the story.
Do you look at me as a mentor?
Sure, yeah.
You do?
I do, yeah.
Would you, if you had a real life problem, would you come to me to solve it for you?
If you want. I don't think you would want to deal. I don't think you would want to deal with that.
I mean, what do you mean? Why would I want to have to solve your life problem? Steve, if you had like a real life problem, like something was just deep rooted, deep seated, was a real issue. What?
You're gonna answer the phone?
You're gonna call?
Yeah.
I answer the phone, hello. And on the other end, I hear, Dave, listen, here's the thing. I'm in a dire situation. I'm not going to drop football on a football Sunday. Hopefully we would avoid that. But for the most part, I'm going to be there for you. Absolutely.
So I guess I'm calling you now. Hey, Steve's going to call me first.
Why? Why would he call you first? You have no life experience whatsoever.
Yeah, but Steve always calls me.
But I have life experience that Steve only dreams to be able to have.
Sure.
Yeah, that's true.
You want me? No, we're about story time. We're about to get into story time. We don't have any more questions or comments, right? We can move along. Great.
We have some, but we don't have to.
We don't have to. We can save them for Friday, or maybe they're not good enough. We don't have to get to them. But I have a quick story time that's just jumping into my thought process, and then there's the one I actually thought of really and wanted to get to. But I'm going to tell you the first one with you guys here, and then the second one I'm going to do all by myself. So I don't know. I'm guessing I'm 22, and I'm living at home, and I get a call on my phone. I have my own line at my parents' house, right? And I answer the phone. Hello, Dave. It's me, Ted. Oh, what's going on, Ted? How are you? I'm in jail. Oh no, what happened? Well, Dave, I was out last night, and I got a DUI. I got pulled over. DUI, and I get one phone call. Can you bail me out? Ted, it's Sunday morning at 10:30. I'm going to the Giants game, man. I'd love to. I can't. So Ted had to spend the rest of the day in jail
because you wanted to watch the Giants.
Yeah, of course. And I do. And I got to be honest. If you guys called me in the same situation, I would do it all over again. I'm not bailing you out on a football Sunday.
Did the Giants win?
Okay.
I don't remember, to be honest with you. But
so if it's a weekday and I need to get bailed out,
you could call me at 2 a.m. and I would answer it and I would be there for you. But if you call me at noon on a football Sunday, I'm telling you both these guys right now, there is zero chance that you're going to have any success with that. All right. So you can stay for the story. You can go from the story, whatever you want. You're going to choose to go. That's fine. So this is a story about me and the Giants and family. And it also incorporates the Broncos. So let me take you back to January of 1987. And the Giants have advanced to the Super Bowl. They beat the Niners in the divisional round 49-3, and Lawrence Taylor has a pick six, and they knocked Joe Montana out of the game, and Jim Burt, right, does that, and they destroy them. And you feel the momentum building. And then the next week, the Giants host the Washington, at the time, Redskins. And I remember the paper flying all around Giants Stadium. It was an electric buzz and windy more than you could ever imagine. Giants come out, and I think they defer, and they go up. I believe both touchdowns. They win the game 17-0. Both touchdowns were scored. Phil Simms, see how emotional that is for me. Phil Simms to Lionel Manuel, number 86, went to the University of Pacific, and the Giants drubbed Washington 17-0. They're going to the Super Bowl. And my dad had always told me, now there's some heartache and some sadness along with some prosperity and excitement in this story. And my dad always told me, they go. Remember, the Giants hadn't been to the Super Bowl ever. This is Super Bowl 21. They'd not been. This is 1986 or January of 87. Giants had last been to a championship game in 1963. They had not been to a championship game in my young lifetime up to that point. And my dad always told me, they go and we're going. And I remember that ringing true. They go and we're going. So they beat Washington, and it's 17-0. And they're going. And I'm 13 years old. And on it, like, it's the pinnacle of my life. I'm going to bed thinking, Giants, I'm waking up. Giants, I'm counting down hours, 117 hours to the game. And it is dominating every thought that I have. I'm not worried about girls. I'm not worried about school. I'm not worried about family. I have a singular focus. And it's the reason we do the obsession now. And it's the New York Football Giants. And out of the AFC, it is a little engine that could, is the Denver Broncos. And they beat the Browns. They go on the drive, 98 yards, touchdown. And then they win that game in overtime. Rich Carless, barefoot kicker, they win the game in overtime. And the Giants are playing this week's opponent back in 1987, the Denver Broncos. And we're going to go, because that's what I've been led to believe the whole time. But remember moments ago when I told you that I had a singular focus and I was only worrying about the Giants? My dad comes into my room, 13 years old. I remember lying on my bed, pretending to do homework in the 7th grade. And my dad walks into my room. And this is the time where he worked in an office, and he's wearing a suit and dressed to the nines, and comes home after work, sits on the corner of my bed. And I'm like, Dad, Did you get the tickets? Are we going? They said, so here's the thing. I was on the phone all morning with the airlines, and I think we're going to fly from New York to Chicago to Denver to California. That's how we're going to get to the game. But here's the problem. We can't go to the game. What do you mean we can't go to the game? Your grades are so bad that in good faith, I can't bring you to the game. And I think back to that moment all the time. We were going to go. My dad had called in favors. We were going to get tickets. He had the flights booked out. It was going to be one of those father-son bonding, last forever. And because I had this singular focus, which was the Giants, I let schoolwork go. I didn't care about it. I was failing classes, and rightfully so. He sat down and said to me, in good conscience, I can't spend thousands of dollars for you to go to this game with me, as much as I'd love to, because you're not holding up your end of the bargain. So another teaching moment. As much as you love your football teams, never make them such a priority in life that you avoid doing well in school. And that's one to grow on. So that being the case, we're a couple days away from the game. We'll be back with you guys on Friday at 1:00 Eastern to give a bigger preview of what the Broncos bring to the table, how the Giants can win this football game, and what to expect. I like the Giants in that second window on Sunday. I think I saw this as well. The Giants have 2 more non-1:00 games. This game, 4:05 Eastern on Sunday, and the weekend of Thanksgiving weekend, that Monday night, the Giants are up in New England, Foxborough, for Monday Night Football. Other than that, lock it in. It's 1:00 every single week. Have a good day. We'll be back on Friday, 1:00 Eastern. And then, as you know, about 20 minutes after the game on Sunday, we'll be here live with our post-game reaction. Have a great rest of your week. See you Friday afternoon. This is Dave Rothenberg. And once again, this has been Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession.